Good morning, Sun and Moon Yoga community. My name is Anna. Welcome to your Thursday 10 a.m. class. Today we will continue the subject of improving our posture, strength, and flexibility of our back. Let's begin the class standing. And at any time, if you have a question or want to say something, do use the chat and let me know that you're there, and I'm so glad that you are. Yeah? All right. As you come up to standing, have enough room around you to sweep your arms. Yeah, and have your feet about hip distance apart. And take a moment to check in with how you feel, your breath, your mental state, and begin to lengthen the exhalation to connect the mind to the body via the breath. As you're doing this, you can close your eyes and do some shoulder shrugs, some easy head movements to keep checking in with how everything feels this morning. Is there tension in the back of the neck? You can use your hands to massage that out. Is there tension between the shoulder blades? You can use your shoulder blades to massage that out a little bit by bringing the shoulder blades up, back, and down a few times. Yeah. And with each long exhalation, visualize that tension leaving your body. And you can integrate the Ujjayi breath where you say, but with the mouth closed. Maybe one more minute as we settle in. A little bit more massage. Waiting for a little deeper inhalation happening as a consequence of us dropping into a more mindful state and the nervous system switching gears. Yeah. When that deeper inhale is happening naturally, we can encourage it with simple arm raises overhead. So begin on the inhale, lifting through the sides up overhead, elongating as you reach up. And on the exhale, return the arms back down to your sides. Match the pace of the movement to the pace of the breath. And keep looking for more length, more extension of the spine. And with it, a deepening of the breath on the inhalation. And still continuing to lengthen the exhale. So today we will talk a little bit more about uneven distribution of tension along the sides of the body that sometimes contributes to a posture that has one shoulder higher than the other or one hip higher than the other. Many of us have a habitual posture of standing with one knee bent. And this is a very comfortable and relaxed human stance. You know, Venus de Milo and Michelangelo's David are both immortalized in this classic human shape with one hip dropping down. Yeah. But however, that creates uneven distribution of muscle engagement along the spine. And with movement today, we're going to work on rehabilitating and correcting that a little bit. So one last overhead on the inhale and down to our sides on the exhale. And then we'll work on an easy forward fold. Bend your knees first, so nothing's pulling on the backs of the legs just yet. We're not really going for a big stretch for the hamstrings. But as you bend from the hips forward, start massaging your legs. First, just the thighs. And then working way down below the knees towards the shins through the front, massaging the fronts of the legs. Trying to hinge from the hips, not rounding the spine too much. Yeah. And then bringing our hands to the backs of the legs, massaging first just the hamstring part, up and down from hip to knee. And then working our way down along the calves to the ankles a few times. So not only you're allowing your back to stretch and do bend the knees as much as is necessary for the ribs to eventually make some nice contact with the thighs as you bend forward. When you arrive at your forward fold, having massaged your legs, let the head hang a little bit, the arms hang a little bit, and fill your back body with breath. Rose is joining us for our yoga class every time. She loves these yoga sessions with me. And then come on up. You can use your hands up above the knees to help yourself hinge up from the hips. Yeah. We'll go back to the upper back. Bring our arms out in front of us like we're holding a giant beach ball. We'll focus on the shoulder blade movement. As we inhale, we'll squeeze the shoulder blades. And as we exhale and round the upper back, we'll spread the shoulder blades. Continue at your pace, creating as much movement and sensation in your upper back with this movement as possible now. And on the inhale, encouraging the chest muscles to stretch. And on the exhale, encouraging the back muscles to stretch. And as one set, stretching, the other one is contracting there. Working together. And then hold the inhale shape for a couple of breaths, actively maintaining the contraction between the shoulder blades, squeezing them tight together. And then come into the cat shape, so to speak, rounding the spine, maintain the elongation of the muscles between the shoulder blades. If you're holding that beach ball right in front of you, making this big circle in front. Yeah. And then release. And let your arms freely dangle. Nice. And then we'll work a little bit now on our side body. Let's have our feet a little bit apart, as much as you are comfortable with, but the wider the better. And then using one hand on the side of the leg, travel down the side of it as you reach the other up by your ear on the inhale, coming into a lateral shape. And then on the exhale, come back down to center. Inhale, reaching over, sideways, exhale, center. Let's imagine our shoulders are on the wall behind us and our shoulder blades are sliding on that wall. And as we reach on the inhale, we want to find an anchor of the foot down into the floor and then reach all the way through the fingertips across. Very good. One more side to side. And another forward fold, this time with the legs apart. Bend the knees, and as you fold forward, shift your weight into the heels a little bit so that the knees are comfortable and hang down from the hips, hanging the head, relaxing your upper body. Here, in this forward fold, after a moment of hanging down the center, walk both hands to your right, bend your right knee, straighten your left leg a little bit, and reach your left hand out either for your right foot or even slightly beyond. So again, we're looking for a lateral, but this time with a little bit of a forward fold. Releasing and lengthening and breathing into the left side ribs.
in the back body. And then walk your hands back to center and to the left. Bend your left knee, straighten your right, and reach your right hand either for the left foot or further beyond, lengthening the right side ribs and breathing into the back on the right. There you go. Now come on up, back to center. Soften the knees some more so you can come up comfortably back to standing. Inhale, reach up overhead for a reset. And exhale, release. There you go. Keep your legs wide apart. Let's turn our right foot out and adjust our left foot, stepping it out to the side and turning the foot in so we can square our pelvis to our right side. And think of your feet being on parallel lines rather than balance beam. Think of cross-country ski lanes so that your feet are not lined up to each other, but are on parallel tracks. Yeah? And then bending forward from the hip, rest your right elbow over that knee and dangle the left one to relax a little bit more and prepare the muscles of your upper and lower left side. And when you're ready, on the inhale, reach the arm up and forward by the ear with your chest square towards the floor, minimum weight of the right elbow on the knee. You want to engage your core here to suspend your torso. On the exhale, engage your core muscles and twist to the left, pulling the left elbow back and down a bit, tucking it towards the waist. And again, minimum support of the right elbow or hand on the thigh. Inhale, square, reach forward and up. Reaching and lengthening. Exhale, zip your core, and as you twist and look at your left hand, rotating the ribs to the left, tuck the elbow down. Continue like this a few times. Inhale, reach forward and up. Back heel anchoring. Exhale, twist. And make sure you're twisting right at the lower rib level, that your hips and legs are not drifting around with you. You want to keep your knee bent a little bit, but stable in that position, tracking right over the toes. So with your right hand that's free here, you can keep checking that your legs stay stable. Yeah? Then we're going to hold these two positions. First, we're going to hold the inhale shape, reaching forward and up, lengthening the upper back muscles. Let's imagine there's something there we're reaching for, like a ripe peach on a tree. Reaching, 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 hold for a breath or two. Soft ujjayi. And then on the exhale, pull the elbow back and down, contract these muscles in your upper back and hold that for a breath or two. You can look at your left hand. And again, minimum support from our right hand on our right leg, just checking the knee position every now and then, yeah? And then dangle the left arm one more time before we switch sides. There you go. And come on up and pivot around to your left side. And again, adjust your legs. So your left leg is turned out, your right leg is turned in, but they're not on the same line, they're on parallel tracks. And resting the left elbow lightly over the knee. Yeah. Relax your right arm into the abyss here. Let it dangle for a few breaths. Right. When you're ready, lock and load your core. Inhale, reach forward and up, minimize support from the left. So using gravity here to load up the muscles with work. On the exhale, zip your belly, and as you twist and rotate the ribs, pull the elbow back and down, keeping the pelvis stable and the knee secure. Inhale, reach forward and up. Exhale, pull back and down, like a one-armed pull-up, yeah? So by alternatively contracting and elongating these muscles, we're helping to unlock them if they're holding our spine in an uneven, tense shape, yeah? So think of lengthening and contracting the muscles around your shoulder blade on the right side. Yeah. Now we're going to hold these two shapes. First on the inhale, reach forward and up for a couple of breaths. Actively reaching for that peach on the tree. And on the exhale, pull back and down, rotating the ribs, activating these muscles, core active, right? Hardly any support from the hand on the thigh. Checking in for the knee alignment. Good. And then dangling the arm down for a reset. Let's come on back to center and reach overhead one more time for a nice full body stretch. And a forward fold with the knees softly bent, traveling down the legs and hanging the head. And relaxing our upper body, upper back. Then squat down a little bit more. Bring your weight into the heels and walk your hands forward, but don't put any weight on the hands. They're completely free. They're just placed on the floor in the down dog position. And here, broaden your upper back. Spread the shoulder blades a little bit with no weight on the hands. And reach the tailbone back. And claw your way forward a little bit, lengthening, evening out the spine. Good. And then walk your hands back when you're ready, up on your legs, and help yourself on up. Very good. Next, we're going to come to the floor and work on that front chest opening so our shoulders can stay back a little bit better for the rest of the day. Yeah? So come to your yoga mat or your floor space that you've designated for yourself. And sit with your legs out in front of you. Sorry, Rosie. You're going to have to move, sweet. There we go. Yeah, bending the knees quite a lot. And coming forward over the legs so we can reach our toes. As you grab the toes over the top of the foot, you can use the feet to stretch your muscles of the back by pulling yourself forward. With pushing of the feet into your hands as you hold on, you can make it feel like somebody's taking you by the arms and pulling you down and forward. And with the knees bent, you're supporting your low back if your ribs are tight up against the legs. And then you can really feel a nice stretch across the upper back. All right, and come on up to sit. And let's have a little butterfly happening here with our heels together. You can scooch forward towards the heels. And take a moment of slowly rocking here and experiencing this shape. Just grounding our energy down a little bit after all of the wing flapping, standing up today. Let's do a little side to side seated with our legs in a wide spread. So come into Upavishta Konasana, a wide angle here with the legs wide apart. And take a moment again to massage. This really helps to redirect the nervous system from intense sensations that you might be experiencing. And allow it to accept it, allow the muscles to elongate without that alarmist gripping. So take a moment here and settle down. Run your hands both down the side of one leg. This is really good. And then down the other leg on either side of the leg with the hands. Destroying the ball, Rosie. No, not good. Yeah? And then sitting back to center. Use one hand on the floor for support along your side there as you reach the other side and over, anchoring the sitting bone down. You'll recognize this shape. It's similar to what we did standing in the beginning of the practice. And then exhale back to center. And then use your hand on the other side of the floor and reach side and over. A couple of these more to work our way back to the sides of the body. Good. And then leaning onto your hands, bend the knees a bit and slide the feet in, but keep the feet wide apart. Here you want to avoid collapsing. You want to avoid leaning onto your hands and your shoulders coming up and forward and your spine rounding. Engage your core. Gently squeeze the shoulder blades so your chest is lifted forward. And you hardly need any support from your hands at all to stay upright. And here on the inhale, we're going to twist the knees in one direction, leaving that other hand on the floor and look away from the knees in the other direction. And on the exhale, we'll come back to center. Yeah, so as you inhale, release the knees to the floor, reach back with the hand and look over the shoulder in the opposite direction of the knees. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And what this does is as you're scooching forward, you can just keep walking your hands in with you. And this allows our chest muscles to stretch and the chest to open up. Yeah, and then stay on your left hip. Tuck your heels in if you want. And then slide out to your left elbow and reach the right arm side and over by your ear and bow your right ribs up. You can also support the head from behind with your right hand and start turning the rib cage, the ribs and head up towards the ceiling a little bit. Yeah. Nice. A little breath now into the front portion of our right rib. And then come on up. Reposition your feet now to your other side. Tuck your heels in if you want. And slide your right hand out so you can bring the elbow of it to the floor. Reach the left arm side and over by your ear. Maybe hold on to the back of the head for support so the chin stays tucked and the head tension free. And then turn your ribs to the ceiling, looking up. And now target your breath into the front lower left portion of your rib. Maybe you already know where I'm going with this. Come on now. An easy forward fold one more time. Swinging the legs out in front of us, bend the knees and reach for your feet. Give your back a stretch again if you liked that. So we keep our lower back ribs open. As we're going for a back bend, we want to keep the back body really full of breath to prevent unnecessary compression. Yeah. All right. Next version, you can either repeat as before. If you find this is a little too much for you at this time, your back is tight and tense, just repeat the Z-sit, reaching over and turning your ribs. You can stay up on the wrist this time. So this is a good option. Or you can come into the Z-sit. Make sure you both knees are going to be on the floor. So spread the knees apart so your whole left shin fits in between. And then bracing on your left wrist, bring the hips up off the floor. And you will feel this nice elongation through the front of the right hip. Take your right hand to the head behind you. Yeah. And work your right rib forward up towards the ceiling, looking up at the ceiling, supporting the head, and really trying to find this arc in the body. Yeah. So like a little bit of a camel shape, camel pose, but on one side, focusing on the right side here.
And then sit down to exit. That felt good. And sit on your right hip, sweep your legs around to your left. Yeah, make sure your knees are wide apart to allow the whole of the right shin to be in and the right heel towards the groin. Put your right hand to the side or even slightly behind to the side, somewhere there on the floor. Yeah, and as you lift the hips, keep both knees on the floor and find this reach of the hips forward. And now we'll feel the left hip more. Taking our left hand to the head, supporting the head in a slight chin tuck. Turn your ribs as much as they do for you towards the ceiling. Looking up, breathing into the front rib. Finding this nice arc through the left front. And then exiting back into a forward fold, checking in with the back body too. We're kind of working the whole circumference today over our lower ribs, filling it with breath, exploring all these wonderful shapes. Good. And then let's lie down on our back and grab our knees into chest and let our back rest a little bit before we finish with the bridge pose. Yeah, so as you lie back, grab the knees in, a little Apanasana here as we pulse and hug our knees in and out. Turning the head side to side, just find a little moment here to settle in and relax. And with the bridge pose next, we finish up and bring symmetry back to the spine. So think of it as the great resymmetrizer, the roll-up bridge pose. So have your feet on the floor, hip distance apart, knees bent, and arms can be wide out, or maybe for today, just so we could focus on this chest lifting up and forward, you can have your elbows close to your sides, but not too tight, with the fingers facing, pointing towards the ceiling. Yeah, and then you can use the backs of the arms to lift the chest and squeeze the shoulder blades a little bit more as you arrive into bridge. And inhale in place. Exhale, zip your core, imprint as you scoop the belly in and roll out vertebra by vertebra. Come back to bridge. And instead of bringing the pelvis forward, bring the chest forward by pushing the elbows, the backs of the arms into the floor. Yeah, but not so much that you compress the neck or your breath is disturbed in any way. A little bit will do us here to enhance this chest and sternum forward and up feeling of this shape a little bit more. On your next exhale, allow that spine to softly release vertebra by vertebra, scooping, imprinting, rolling into neutral. Inhale, exhale, zip, scoop, imprint, roll up. Inhale as you add that pressure of the shoulders and of the elbows into the floor. Exhale, scoop, imprint, and roll down. Let's do a couple of more, getting more of a feel for how this works. So on the inhale, we stay in the shape and we push the elbows back. And on the exhale, we just melt that upper back into the floor as we roll through it. Very good. As you finish, grab your knees in for last Apanasana. Again, symmetry. And release this time for your low back, for all of its joys and sorrows. So let's hold on to our knees so we use our arms to move the legs back and forth. And as you inhale, legs away, still holding on. And exhale, legs in, pulse, pulse, pulse.
Coordinating breath and movement together. Let's slow down a little bit more again. That lengthening of the exhalation will take us to a nice meditative state where we can process the experience of our practice, deposit into muscle memory new neurological connections. And then come into constructive rest pose, Shavasana, legs up the wall for a minute or so. Stay connected to the breath, soft Ujjayi, and check in again with your body. All those points of interest that revealed themselves to you in the beginning as you were checking in before the practice, revisit them again and see how the practice affected you. Breathe into different quadrants of your rib cage. Breathe into the lower back ribs. Compare right and left lower back ribs receptivity to breath. Pressing the lower back ribs towards the floor as you inhale and fill them up. Take a breath into the front lower ribs and see if you can have even access on the right and the left into the lower front ribs. Yes. Do the same for the quadrants of the upper back. So shoulder blades, fill them up towards the floor. And then the front of the chest, fill up that with your next inhalation. Really breathing for that chest forward and up. Long exhale and a nice pause at the end of the exhalation. And this concludes my class today with you. Half an hour well spent, I hope. Thank you for joining me on Thursdays, and a deep namaste. See you back here soon. Bye-bye.